Okay, this is the Breaking the Code worksheet. Okay, first one, add 1 to both sides. 3x squared equals 6. Divide by 3. X squared equals 2. Now, when you square root both sides, you do not forget the plus or minus. Plus or minus radical 2. So what we're going to do is try to find the code. That means you're going to try to find the plus or minus radical 2 in the solution. So you have 16 problems to find. So look at all the solutions. And there it is, C, plus or minus radical 2. So that's our first code. That's our solution code. But now you have to find the graph. And the graph doesn't go, this right here doesn't go with this graph next to it. These don't go together. So you have to find where this is. There's 2 ways to find the graph. I like punching in square root of 2 on my calculator. It's 1.4. So to me, this means that it's going to hit the graph at about 1.4 and negative 1.4. That's where it's going to hit the graph. Okay, but if you wanted to go up here to the original, if you can let this equal, if you let this right here, this right side equals 0, subtract 5 to the side, you can punch it in your calculator. 3x squared minus 6. So I can go to y equals and type in 3x squared minus 6 and press graph. It's a 10 by 10 screen. And you can kind of see that it's hitting 1.4 and negative 1.4. It also looks like it's going down to about negative 6. So you're going to look for a graph. Do you guys see this 1.4 right here? 1.4, negative 1.4, and it's going down to about negative 6. So it's graph E. So we're going to cross off E, and we're going to write E for the second part of the code, C and E. I'm also going to cross off C right here for my solution. So I'm done with C because you can only use these once. Okay, first answer is C and E. So the second one, there's 2 ways you can do this. I personally would have factored this. X plus 2 and x plus 2 equals 0. Because what are factors of 4 that add up to 4? 2 and 2. Then you set each one of these equal to 0. You get negative 2 for both of them. So it's negative 2 and it's a double root. Now let me show you how to get negative 2 using the quadratic formula. A is 1, B is 4, C is 4. So the opposite of B is negative 4 plus or minus B squared, which is 16, minus 4 times A times C over 2A. Oops, 2 times 1. So it's negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus 16, which is 0 over 2. So plus or minus 0 goes away, and your answer is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. But you might not know that that's a double root. Just know that there's always 2 answers. So if you only have 1 answer, it's there twice. So what does a graph look like when it's a double root? You can punch this in. X squared plus 4x plus 4. Graph. Negative 2 double root means it's going to hit the negative 2 but not go through it. It's going to touch the negative 2 on the x-axis and bounce off. So that graph is A. It's right here. You see that? Negative 2 bouncy. Doesn't go through, just hits negative 2 and bounces off. So this graph is A. But what's the solution? Negative 2? We have to find the solution. It's actually H. You were supposed to fill in negative 2 for this one. H is x equals negative 2. So that's the answer, H. That goes first. And I'm going to cross off H, and I'm going to cross off graph A. And go to the next one. So the next one, we want to set this side equal to 0. So we're going to subtract the quadratic term over, and we're going to subtract the 2. Now there's really no place to put a subtraction of 2 because there's no number over here. So if you add these first, that's 1x squared, then followed by the linear term, and then the negative 2 goes here, the one that we subtracted over. That's your quadratic. This one's not factorable. There are no factors of negative 2 that equal negative 4. So we are doing the quadratic formula. It is 4 plus or minus 16, because that's b squared. Do not write negative 4 squared like this, or you're going to get it wrong. Just go ahead and square. Anything squared is positive, so that's 16 minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. So 16 plus 8, if you punch that all in your calculator, 16 minus 4 times 1 times negative 2 is all going to give you a 24. Now it's all about simplifying. So 24, if you do a factor tree, looks like we have a pair of 2's that can come out, but there's still 2 and 3, 6 underneath. Now, this is my division triangle right here. You can take a 2 out of all 3 of these numbers, and that's going to give you 2 plus or minus 1 radical 6 over 1, which my guess is it's just going to be 2 plus or minus radical 6, because dividing by 1 doesn't hurt anything, and multiplying by 1 doesn't really change anything. So we're looking for this answer. So let's go hunt for that. I do see it. It's right here. Choice D. So it's choice D, so I'm going to cross it off and put a D here. Now for the graph. I'm going to go to this step right here. This is the step that's equal to 0. That's the step that you're going to set equal to 0. So it's x squared. I already have that in here. Minus 4x minus 2. So it looks like it's going through between 0 and negative 1, and between 1, 2, 3, 4, between 4 and 5, between 0 and negative 1. So looking for a graph that goes between 4 and 5. Oh, here's one. This goes between 4 and 5 and between 0 and negative 1. I'm going to say that that's F. And I'm going to cross off F. So now we're on the back. Number 4. So this one, it might be able to be factored, but I don't even want to attempt it. So we're going to do the quadratic formula. So A is 3, B is negative 2, and C is 1. There's the formula. The opposite of B is 2. B squared is 4. A is 3. C is 1. Over 2 times A, which is 6. So this is 2 plus or minus 4. Negative 8 over 6. So you might remember that if you have a negative, you have to bring an I out. That's the first thing you should do. And the second thing you should do is you should do a factor tree for 8. And bring a pair of 2's out. So this is 2 plus or minus 2i. Bring the 2 out with the I. Radical 2. There's still a 2 right there. Over 6. Do we have a division triangle? We do. Take a 2 out of all of these. 1 plus or minus 1i. Radical 2 over 3. So we're going to hunt for that answer. And it looks like it is letter L right here. Look at letter L. I'm going to cross this out. I'm going to write L. Now, whenever you have an imaginary answer, it's not going to touch the x-axis. So let's find, okay, right here. This is what we want to punch to the y. It's equal to 0 right there. That's equal to 0, so let's punch that in. 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then I got to delete all this other stuff. Oops. Let me just try that again. 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. So see how it's not touching the x-axis? Oops, you can't see. See how that's not touching the x-axis? And it looks like it's going through a negative 1 on the y-axis. You see that? So let's find one that doesn't touch the x-axis, but it goes through 1. I'd say it's this one. See how it doesn't touch the x-axis, but it's going through 1? Let's look at that again. I'd say that's pretty close. So I'm going to say it's M. I'm going to cross out M. And we're done. And number 5, I think it's best if you divide everything by negative 4. You get this. Now, when you square root both sides, you're going to get plus or minus 3. Plus or minus 3. So that looks like it is N. So let's cross off N. And we're looking for a graph that crosses 3 and negative 3. It also, if you notice, you had a negative 4x squared term. That means it's going to go upside down. So see this one right here? 3, negative 3, and it's upside down. And it's hitting negative 36, which is actually in the equation. So my guess is it's N. But we are going, oh, it's an N and an N. But we're going to double check this one. So to punch this one in the calculator, you got to get one side equal to 0. So you're going to have to add 36 to the other side to get it to go in the calculator. So this is negative 4x x squared plus 36. Gosh, I forgot to delete this again. One more time. Negative 4x squared plus 36 graph. Now, I'm not going to be able to see this because it's way up here, but I can see that it's hitting 3 and negative 3, and the vertex is way up there. But if you wanted to go to window and go to y max, I would change that to like 50. Now you can see it. It's hitting this 36 right here. That 36 is always a number. That's 36, 3, and negative 3. And that was graph N. So this one, you could FOIL this, but you don't need to. You can always get rid of a square by square rooting. So I think we should add 1, and I think we should get rid of that square by square rooting instead of FOILing. So we're going to square root. That gets rid of the square. But you can't forget the plus minus. What is the square root of 16? It's 4. Now we got to subtract 3. Where does that subtraction of 3 go? It goes in front of the plus or minus. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1, and negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Oh, it looks like it's right here. It's E. So E is your answer. Now you're looking for a graph that crosses through negative 7 and 1. Perfectly. Negative 7 and 1. Negative 7. Oh, look at this one. H. Crosses through negative 7 and 1. So it has to be H. Let's cross that graph out. H. 7. This one's factorable. I'm just going to save some time. What are factors of 2 that add up to 3? 2 and 1. So one of your answers is negative 2 and one of your answers is negative 1. It's right here, F. Cross that out. It's also right here on the graph. Look, negative 1 and negative 2. That's where it crosses the x-axis. So that graph is D. You could also graph it in the calculator. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So let's press zoom 6. You see how it crosses negative 1 and negative 2? That was graph D right here. Okay, first page is done. But we might need it for some of the graphs, but we're on number 8 now. All right, I'm definitely doing the quadratic formula here. A is negative 3. Be careful with that. B is 1, and C is negative 4. So the opposite of B is negative 1, plus or minus. B squared, which is 1. Minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 4 over negative 6, because 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So negative 1 plus or minus. This whole thing here is 1 minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 4. Negative 47. Yep, there's an answer right there with the 47, so it must be it. So it's negative 47 over 6. So negative 6. So it's negative 1 plus or minus. Bring the I out. And that one is right here next to it. It is I. Now the graph. You're looking for a graph that doesn't touch the x-axis, but this time it's going to turn upside down because of the negative square term. So it's going to be upside down and not touching the x-axis. So that is not on this sheet. Well, that must be right here. Could it be this one? There's not too many upside down ones per period, so it has to be, must be C. It has to be C. Okay, 9. Let's go ahead and subtract the 6x over to this side. This one's factorable. X and x, factors of 9 that add up to negative 6 are negative 3 and negative 3. This answer is 3 and this one's 3, so it's 3 double root. If you would have done the quadratic formula, you would have got 6 plus or minus 36 minus 4 times a times 9 over 2a, which is 0 over 2, which is 3 double root. This is a 3 double root right here. This graph is I. And we want a 3 double root, and the answer is J. J and I. Quadratic formula, 9 plus or minus 81 minus 4 times 2 over 8. So it's opposite of b, plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. So this is 81 minus 32. Let's punch that in. Now, when it's a perfect square, the radical is going to go away. That means these answers will be pretty. So tell me the pretty answers that you're left with. So you get 9 plus or minus 7 over 8, which is 9 plus 7 over 8, and 9 minus 7 over 8. So one of my answers is 16 over 8, or 2. 9 minus 7 is 2 over 8, and 2 over 8 is the same thing as 1/4. 2 and 1/4. It's right here, O. O. And find a graph that crosses at 2 and 1/4. And let's see, it's going to go upside, it's going to go this way. And it's going to cross at 2 and 1/4. So no, no, no. This one crosses at 2 and 1/2, but it's upside down, so it can't be K. 2 and 1/4. No, 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 no. Let me go to my other page. Where's my other page? 2. Which one have I not? Okay, here's a 2. Okay, this one's regular. 2 and 1/4. 2 and 1/4. Oh, here it is. 2. See G? G. It's crossing through 2, and it's crossing through 1/4, and it goes up because the x squared term is positive. So it's G. Where was I? Here, O and G. All right, square root both sides right from the start. X minus 7 equals plus or minus square root of 48. Do a factor tree for 48. Bring 1 2 out, bring another 2 out. So x minus 7 equals plus or minus 2 times 2 is 4 square root of 3. That's how you simplify 48, factor tree. Then add 7 to both sides, but put it in front of the plus or minus. So these are your answers. 7 plus or minus 4 radical 3. Let's see if we can find that answer. 7 plus or minus 4 radical 3. 7 plus or minus 4 radical 3. Oh, there it is, B. Letter B. Now, if you were going to put this in the calculator, let's go back at 11. If I wanted, here's from the beginning. You had this. If you want to punch in the calculator, subtract 48 to this side. Set it equal to 0 and punch this into the white. You don't have to FOIL it or anything. Don't do anything extra. So go to y equals. You can type in the parentheses and everything. You got x minus 7 squared. Just type it in just like that. And then we subtracted the 48 over, and then graph. Now, you can kind of tell it's doing this. It's probably going to come back. It's probably going to come back up that way down here and come back up. So what we need to do is we need to lengthen the y min and probably lengthen the x max. So go to window. Let's go to x max and make that a 20. Let's go to y min, sorry, lower part. Let's go to negative 40. See what we get. So it looks like it's way over here. Like we can count 1, 2, 3, or we could do trace. It's about, see that? It's about 13, 14, between 13 and 14. And this one's pretty close to 0. So we're looking at a graph that's like 0 and 13 and 14. Here's a 0. See this one right here? And that one's about 13, 14 right here. I'd say that one's O. B and O. Cross it off. Now we're on the other side, 12. So this one, we are going to subtract 10 to the other side And you can factor this or use quadratic formula. Does anyone know any factors of negative 10 that add up to 3? How about 5 and negative 2? So we have x plus 5 and x minus 2. So one of your answers is negative 5 and one of the answers is 2. So it looks like M right here. Cross that out. And we're looking at a graph that crosses at negative 5 right there and 2, and that's L. They're both on the same page. This one, quadratic formula, opposite of b, plus or minus 9, that's b squared, minus 4 times negative 2 times 2, that's a and that's c, over 2 times a. So you have negative 3 plus or minus. We have 9 minus 4 times negative 2 times 2. It's 25. All over negative 4. Now again, this is a perfect square, so that radical's going away. So you have negative 3 plus 5 over negative 4 and negative 3 minus 5 over negative 4. So this part of it's 2. 2 over negative 4 is negative 1/2. This one's negative 8 over negative 4, which is 2. Negative 1/2 and 2. That's K. You see that right here? K is your answer. And now we need a graph that's crossing at negative 1/2 and 2. And also notice that it's negative first x squared term, so it's upside down. And I think I see it right here. Well, I thought I saw it. Right here. It's negative 1/2 and 2, and it's upside down, so it has to be K. I'm crossing off K. You can also get that by graphing it. So if we put in a negative 2x squared plus 3x plus 2 and graph. I said it was graph K. Let me go back to Zoom 6. Zoom 6. That gives me my 10 by 10 screen. So that one I just said was K. So it kind of looks like K right there. See? Kind of matches. Okay, 2 more. On this one, you're going to subtract 4 to the other side and square root. So x is plus or minus, bring the I out, and the 2. So it's plus or minus 2i. There it is, G. So this is G. Now this is an imaginary answer. So it's not going to touch this axis. And it's going to hit at 4 up here. And it's going to go up. So if you graph that, that's what it's going to look like. X squared plus 4. It's going to start at 4, and then it's not going to touch the x-axis. So where is that one at? There it is. It's J. It's J, so we should only have 2 letters left. So this one, let's subtract x and add 3. Subtract x and add 3. So it's negative 2x squared. Subtract x. And then 4 and 3 is 7. That's your trinomial. The opposite of b is 1, because a is negative 2, b is negative 1, and c is 7. So the opposite of b is 1 plus or minus b squared, which is 1, minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. This is 1 minus, I think it's going to be 57 over negative 4. And I can't, I know 57, well, I guess you could simplify that, but what letter is left? Is there 57 anywhere? Oh, that's a 47. I better punch that in. 1 minus 4 times negative 2 times 7. It's 57. Oh, here it is. Look. It's right here. It's A. And what is that graph? It's negative 2x squared minus x plus 7. Oh, I didn't do that again. Negative 2x squared minus x plus 7 graph. It's going to be upside down. Look for an upside down graph that hasn't been used. Is it this one? Looks like B. Yeah, I think it's B. That's my last one. There's that. I mean, where I'm at. Last problem. A and B. Okay. That's it.